friends.
I see you like mobile money.
I know you don't. You don't even have a mobile money account.
I don't have mobile money.
Do you have one now?
I'm the last to resist.
Oh
No.
God.
No, I still don't.
Resisting what exactly?
The imposition of
Abba. Rala, you are not doing. Then you to innovate. Bring your technology and let us use it.
Don't use mobile money. You keep going. Hello and welcome to Curating a Creatives podcast. Notice that the set is different. Our co-hosts are different. It's a different chapter. We'll call it chapter 2022 with a splash of orange. Orange signifying vitality, energy, all things beautiful, which we wish for you and yours. My name is Tettey, and this time I'm joined by two people who are relics in my life. I've known an eternity both ways. I think this way something like 27 years, and that's maybe 15, 16. Blay Ackah, some respect on it, Dr. Blay Ackah, and Yibor Kojo Yibor. Thanks for saying yes to this.
Always welcome.
Or you might regret as we go along. I hope not. So these two have been resources in my life in different capacities, and hopefully you understand why. And I'm thankful that the conversations that we've had intimately, we could share with the world, as well as their knowledge, their warmth, their love, and so on and so forth. So let's just get right into it. Our first topic for episode 6 is blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Metaverse. And I was asked before we started rolling why I'm going into something that I'm not comfortable with. But I think it's one of those topics that we need to delve into. More and more we're entering the virtual spaces. And there's no excuse to not know what's happening in our world, you know. So, Dr. Blay Ackah.
Must you?
I must, 7 years of hard work. And your thesis had something to do with blockchain, right? So we'll start with you.
You just made me swallow spit. So what's the question exactly?
I mean, and I'm sure for many people, because I've struggled with these concepts over and over, and I consider myself like an analog girl trying to figure out this digitized world, or moving more into a digital space. So I mean, I'm trying, but there's so many things that I can't figure out yet. So I think we should start basically with what on earth is blockchain? Is this the basis of it? We start moving into like cryptocurrency and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Does it begin with blockchain?
Yeah, well, so blockchain would be the underlying technology for cryptocurrencies, which Black mentioned earlier when we were having a private conversation. So I mean, the easier way to see it is it's like a Google Docs that a community of people have access to, and we transact business, we exchange things of value on this platform together. Everybody curates it. And this is a very generalized way of explaining it, right? Because there are different types of blockchains and different ways that people process digital assets. But basically, so that's it. A community of people come together, exchange things of value, and cryptocurrency is the digital currency that's used in these exchanges. And it's decentralized, so everybody who is part of that community verifies the process, helps with the transactions, verifies that it's nobody's being fraudulent. It's very hard to be fraudulent if you have all these eyes watching you. The interesting aspect about this is most of the time it's anonymous. So I don't have to know him to be able to exchange things of value. We just have IDs, exactly. And we use cryptography to verify these processes. And so cryptocurrency is basically just the digital currencies that are used in operationalizing the transactions on the blockchain.
It sounded to me like, and not putting you on the spot because you definitely don't represent this world, you're knowledgeable in it, but when I hear things like it belongs to all of us, or it's decentralized, or we all have access to it, and it almost sounds like someone is BSing me somewhere from, you know what I mean? So how legit is this idea of collective ownership of a space, do we think, you know?
I mean, Charlie, how many people have access to the internet? How many people have access to digital devices? How many people have knowledge of how to use a phone, a YAM phone? So obviously it's an ideal world, right? Not everybody is participating in it as much as we'd like to think that's it. It's I mean, how many people really participate in the digital sphere? So yes, we are BSing each other by making it sound like it's so decentralized. Everyone has access. We all don't have access. We all might not even be able to afford the most popular one, which is Bitcoin, because sometimes the value shoots up and then it crashes, and it's so volatile. But it's still nice to talk in these ideal terms.
I know, right? Dreamland.
And say it's decentralized, because it is, in a manner of speaking.
But I mean, the way it's presented is that, especially for artists, that it's a great way to market and to get paid, because in the past, especially with music, there's so many ways to swindle us out of our profits, you know. But I'm just wondering, what was wrong with the old way of doing things? Like, or are we? Is it eventually going to move into a place where, this is me projecting, where we can do both, and other options, whichever. What do you think? Like, why is it interesting for artists? I like my old way of selling paintings.
I think we can like our old ways, but the way the world itself is moving, almost every day there's something new. Almost every day there is something new. And so the history of how to transact business over the period have changed so fast. And now, as we stand, what we call the physical money, fiat, that's what they call it in the crypto world, it's actually living. And this is what is coming. And so we have no choice but to open our eyes and ask the questions that are relevant. How do we get into it? I'm not very of it all,
No,
but
same here.
I really am getting interested now that this is the reality, this is the future. And we'll be there for those who know about the cryptocurrency and these things. 10 years ago, I understand it was, you could use one crypto to maybe buy something small, something like that. Today,
It was here 10 years ago.
yes.
Wow, I'm late to the party.
Like
I
10
think about
years ago.
2008 is when
somewhere
Bitcoin
28,
first.
27,
Yeah.
thereabouts. And today, if you have one Bitcoin, is it $50,000 or something, 40 something, 50,000 something for just one Bitcoin. And so you have the coin in
That
your,
you can't touch. I mean, invisible money.
you can't see it. It's on your phone or it's in your email. All you do is just collect the person's address and then pop, it's gone. Just like Mark, some people even use their phones and then it just deducts the amount from it. And you still have one, still the money is still there. I mean, if you see the way it works, it's really amazing. And so we need to catch up.
Remember when we were moving from 1999 to 2000, and there was this craze about, what did they call it even? There was, of course, people thinking the world was ending, that your computers would lose functionality, like all kinds of things. Are we going to get some kind of red line marker for the transition, quote unquote, into this whole madness? I mean, I think it's madness.
But don't you think the madness has started already? I think it started. I don't know if there's going to be like an obvious transition like that, because it's all around us already. I mean, it's so popular. There are so many people in Ghana, in Nigeria, in so many different African countries, in Kenya, who are already transacting business on the blockchain and exchanging cryptocurrencies and trading in it. It's huge in Ghana, cryptocurrency trading.
It's huge in Ghana.
It's massive. At least in Accra, in the urban,
Yeah.
in urban Ghana. But yeah, I don't know if there's going to be like a distinct step into it, because I think it's already seeped into the society.
I mean, I was reading this morning that people are actually buying real estate in crypto universe.
Yeah.
You know.
But the good thing about it, I mean, we can bash it and it's madness if we don't understand it. However, there's so many good aspects of it, right? It's very difficult to defraud. Well, it's not difficult to defraud. What I mean is very difficult to fake transactions on the blockchain.
Allegedly.
Because of the largely, it's true compared to the centralized systems that we have, because it's very easy to trace where the transactions happened, where this cryptocurrency, let's use Bitcoin because it's easier. But where there's one Bitcoin, who originally owned it, who owned it next, who sold it to who, like it's so easy to trace. And so that idea of the blockchain being both anonymous but very easy to verify makes, because our land system here, it's messed up, right? So if records are stored on the blockchain, because they're so easy to trace and all that, it makes it a bit more secure. So I mean, that's a great advantage.
I mean, we just went into all three, but we sort of started talking about metaverse or metaverse. How would you guys pronounce it?
I think metaverse.
Okay, meta. And I'm just wondering, it's been bad enough for our social structures and our socialization as human beings, especially with pandemic and everything that's come with it. All of this augmented virtual reality, I'm scared, sincerely, about what that's going to do to social fiber. The social fiber. Like, maybe I would like my goggles or whatever they are called, the 3D, more than sitting next to you. And I probably won't be calling you because I'll be wearing the nicest merch virtually, in my mansion virtually, taking my trips virtually. Like, who needs black then? I
mean, what I feel is happening is the opportunity for choices. And for us humans, we are very much afraid of change. A lot of us are afraid of change, especially when we are asked or it's coming directly to us and we know that it's so practical now, you have to, then we are free. But if we are not aware of it, we go through it easily. Just like you explain, whether it will come, boom, like this, and we'll see that this is the gate we are entering into blockchain. That nobody wants to see that thing. But whilst we are here, you are going to buy food, and they tell you that, sorry, we can only collect or take payment in crypto. Maybe you ask yourself the question, what is that? That's a smooth way of entering it. Then you go back a little bit. Those who are behind you have crypto, they'll be saved smoothly and neatly. You'll be like, oh, but that was fast. And this kind of hit will make you want to go and ask questions and then find out how you can also come and get that smooth service. This is how somehow, for me, I look at it. But if we don't accept this kind of change that is supposed to come to us or already is here with us, it's going to be very difficult for us to live in these times, because right now, even right now, there are things that you want to buy online and they are requesting for only cryptocurrencies, which means that your physical money you can't use. If you go also to Europe right now, you can't take a bus and say, oh, I have my money, physical money to pay. Everything is online. Everything is online. So you go with plenty of money and you think you want to pay the... Sorry, people have bought tickets. But that's also some form of security for us, that you don't hold physical money with you. And it saves you also a lot of the risk of losing it. And this is still in your email. Nobody can take your password from your head. And so it's a good place we are going, but we only should check of how the risk and all those crook and things that could disadvantage us.
Yeah, I like options, right? So far I'm hearing we are moving, without my permission. But does it feel like there'll be a point where we'll have a choice? Say everybody's into cell phones and I don't want a phone. So if I want to call you, I go to the roadside and I call, but I don't have the phone physically. So I can opt out of this world. Is it possible? Live on my mountaintop and...
I mean, before any technology becomes popular, there's always fear. Before newspapers became widespread and popular, there were all these stories about people now being unfriendly. You go to the bus stop, and there are pictures of it at the bus stop. Everyone is looking into a newspaper and not talking to the next person. It happens before.
So they anticipated that it would disrupt socialization.
The exact same way we are thinking about the metaverse now, right? Every technology comes with its positives and negatives. I think our problem is we celebrate the positives so much that we forget to acknowledge the negative impact that it's going to have on us. And it needs as much attention as the benefits we are going to get from it. So that's important to remember. As to if there's going to be much of a choice, if you think about it right now, Ghana is like an amazing cross-section of, for so many people, the radio is still new media. It's still new media for many people in Ghana. The radio, TV, is still new media. Of course, so there are people who have advanced and are already doing cryptocurrency, and people have the AR goggles and all that. And there are people who still think the radio is the most amazing thing in the world. And so I don't know if I can say necessarily that there isn't going to be a choice, because not everybody can be a part of it or want to. I think there's going to be a choice. The powers that be might be more into one than the other, but it doesn't mean there won't be a choice.
I'll remember these words, I hope so. But I mean, I like to play devil's advocate, especially as far as this is concerned. And I remember like some of these sci-fi movies where everything goes wrong, and not even sci-fi movies. Remember there was this period sometime last year where Facebook, Instagram stopped working, WhatsApp. How about if that happens to all electronic platforms worldwide? There's some kind of, maybe not even sabotage, but everything just shuts down, and we are doing our business solely online. And I'm the only one who still has cash.
That, I think, it'll be it's not like it's impossible, but I think it'll be difficult to happen. I understand a little bit that a lot of these things that are happening based on the laws of nature, the idea of gravity, the idea of the way the systems of the world works. Now, technology has taken on that kind of space. I can call you right now. You don't need to see the line of my call or the telephone number going to you. But sometimes you can get engaged simply because there are a lot of networking of call waves. So this is how it works. So they've understood, the science have understood this process of how the world system works. And so they've taken the sciences out of these and have been able to develop it to what we have right now. If anything should happen, there must be an act of God.
But there could be. Who thought COVID-19 could be as massive and as
global like this?
As global as it's, yeah.
For me, COVID, I still see it that it was orchestrated. And that's how come it has even surpassed the way those who attempted to do it, or those who orchestrated it, has surpassed the way the impact has surpassed it for them. So what I'm saying is that you go to a place like, you go to Europe, and there are car parks that are elevate like stories, and it's machine, power, electricity that these car parks are operated on. You park, the machine makes the car to the top. I mean, in a system like that, it is difficult for you to think there will be light off. It's so much working that they don't think about light off. But in a place like this is how we can think. Because anytime there can be light off, even, I mean, the smallest thing that should not happen can happen here. And that's how come we are thinking like this. And so it's important for us to be open to this new world. And we are living in different levels of worlds. And so to think you will still be comfortable using your money, the challenge you will face is that you will not have people who will receive payment with your money. And so it becomes useless. You have plenty of money, but you can't use.
Shuts down.
You can't use it because they will all be waiting for the electric form of payment to happen. They won't take your money. It becomes useless. And so we need to...
It will only be good for a museum.
Something
in
like that.
2021, this is what the currency looked like.
Something like that. But
I don't know if this will happen in our lifetime, though. I mean, there are billions of people, almost half of the world's population still does not have internet access. There are billions of people who
That sucks,
genuinely are not
for real,
participating
though.
in the digital space at all. So I think it will take a while for this kind of reality to be that widespread. I think so. I really don't see.
The longer it takes, the happier I'll be, though.
Well,
For
I
me,
don't
I
see it
think
happen now.
it is also intentional that not everybody should be able to assess what is happening.
Right.
It's a process where it will lead to the place where only the few can control the masses. So the agenda can really begin to manifest itself. People are planning 100 years, 80 years, 50 years ahead of time. And we are still here. We are only thinking of tomorrow, next week, next month, 1 year, 2 years, or probably even less. And so for those who are thinking in that dimension, they are seeing the power, they are seeing how much control they can have and what they can easily take from you, and you can't do anything about it. I like it that you are seeing it, that people in the villages, and they are
Because it's one
they don't have
dimensional, the way
anything.
the world is
That's how
projecting,
they
you know.
see it.
Yeah.
That's how they see it.
Like we all follow automatic. But your point about, and people would call this, this falls in the category of so-called conspiracy theories, that all of this is planned. But I really want, I would be interested in that. Like, what if it's just a perfect coincidence that there's a pandemic about the same time as the boiling point of this so-called transition into virtual spaces and having to do business? Because I mean, if you're scared of your own oxygen and moving and socializing, then it makes perfect sense that you'll be obliged to sit behind a computer or enter some kind of alternate reality to exist. What if it's the perfect scheme? And allegedly, I'm just thinking, the perfect scheme of introducing disease, fear, panic, and by extension, zero or almost none socialization to oblige people to find an alternative to what's real. Is that possible?
Extremely possible. I don't doubt that could happen. I mean, not in the least. I'm not saying I necessarily agree that the pandemic was orchestrated. I hesitate to think
that's diabolical.
No. I believe people are that.
Okay.
But I don't want to give them that kind of power to think they've had this kind of an impact on the world. So I don't know if I want to think along those lines. However, like I'm saying, I do believe it's very possible for anyone to have this kind of plan, and it will overwhelm them, like you're saying. They probably, if that were to be it, they would not have imagined that would be on this scale, right? Or we could think that the pandemic has caused this move to digitization, not necessarily
Not
that
intentional.
someone wanting there to be this much caused the pandemic. I mean, it could be the other way around. But then I do not doubt at all that there are people who have such methodological brains to put these things into place, because people have the power to do it.
I
And
mean,
they've done it in different contexts.
And to your point about control, there's also another theory that the 2%, I think it's 2% of the world's wealthiest, think there are too many of us on the planet, and so there has to be a way to depopulate, also control, and then make sure that information, access to resources, etc., are centralized, more centralized. Where was I going with this point? I forget.
You made the point.
Okay, I made the point. But you were asking earlier about virtual realities. What if, because there are some people, and I've been there before, who don't find the real reality, if we can call it that, interesting for whatever reason, emotional, physical, whatever. What if this is their big break? That was the question you were asking earlier, right?
At this moment in my life, I'm not surprised about anything that is happening. I am not. Because our very appearance is subject to people's personal perception of who they think you are. That is actually virtual reality.
Oh, interesting.
That is because based on what you are wearing, that's what you are seeing. So you don't need to put that thing there or be on Metaverse or whatever before you believe that what you are seeing is virtual reality. We already have it. But everybody or people who can't do some things for themselves need other people to do it so that they will make use of it. And so the powerful have realized that since the masses can't think some things for themselves, we should be able to do it for them so that we take charge in controlling them. This is how the world is run since time immemorial. Few people want to control the more or the masses. And to be human, you shouldn't be thinking like this. But to live through this human space, you have to find sometimes be selfish like that. Because we are in this system here, it's difficult to get some things. But if you are not hardcore, if you don't break some bones, if you don't break some backs and bite some backs, you won't get what you want.
So eat or be eaten.
Somehow, this is how it's like we are in an animal
Primal
kingdom.
instincts. Yeah.
We are killing the lesser ones in order for us to take over to the next level. If not, we will not get there. And so this is exactly what is happening, but on different dimensions. And there is nothing we can do about it, but there is something we can do about it, and it's a dichotomy.
I'm wondering, because I feel like we've always played catch up. We, as in Africa in particular, we've always played catch up with whatever is dictated, whatever is set as the bar. And of course that appalls me. And I'm just wondering, how do we not play catch up? How do we ever get one step ahead, if that's possible, or at least be at par? Do we need like financial / digital literacy? Like what's the game plan now?
I mean, we do. We need to think. Not that we don't think already, but we need to think along certain lines. I mean, we could think of, there are so many reasons why we are stuck in this rut that we are constantly learning from. But the funny thing is, so the wheel has been invented, roll with it. You know, it's lately, I mean, now innovation is like, there's an explosion of innovation. Mm-hmm. Just adapt it correctly. Just copy it appropriately. Contextualize it to your context. Even that's one cry, it doesn't look like we're really doing. So that's a bit sad. We don't lack great minds.
Yeah, that's true. No doubt.
It's hard to figure out exactly where there's a lot of problems that we can talk about, but then it doesn't change the fact that it doesn't change the system. We are still, stuck in the same process, and that's quite a killer. So I mean, solutions abound. Again, contextualize, see what other people are innovating, use it, adapt it to your context, and we have innovated with mobile money. It has made such a huge difference.
I see you like mobile money.
I know you don't. You don't even have a mobile money account. Do you have one now?
I'm the last to resist.
Oh,
no.
God.
No, I still don't.
Resisting what exactly?
The imposition of...
Abba! Rala, you are not doing... Then you two innovate. Bring your technology and let us use it.
Use mobile money.
But anyway, so I'm saying we do innovate, right? And we have mobile money, and we see the changes it's brought about. We see that it's including more people in the financial system. Now the government wants to tax this small thing that we are celebrating and all that. But anyways, I'm just saying there are so many avenues. And the amazing thing about us is all these gaps that we have, it means there's money to be made. It means there's innovation to be, made. There's so much we can do because we do have a lot of problems. So it would be nice for us to just blossom a bit more and stop always copying wrongly.
I think that as a people in this part of the world, we are so unique and different that what we are always catching up on, if we decide as a people that we are not going to catch up anymore, but decide we are going to speak our own language, do our own thing, we are not in competition with the world, and then try to just live the African way, go our own traditional way of worshiping our God. I mean, decide that this is how we are going to go. They will want to now come and catch up with us. It's just like you are doing a business. Any business that comes up in Africa, everybody is doing the same thing. And we are stuck with that kind of a culture. But I still believe our thinking, we don't think in our local language. When you are thinking, right, you think in English. And for some reason, I believe our body, our spirit, the being, the human we are, do not agree with. There is something that blocks us from not being the real we. Our spirit don't know this kind of, because English is one of the subject, not like the less expressive
Less
languages in the
colorful.
world.
There's so many
It's-
variations
no,
in
you
other
can't.
languages. Yeah.
You can't. I mean, see how when you hear the local language and how much science there is in it, like ewe, gan, tree. Let people speak this and just hear one phrase, and if they break the phrase for you, you are like, wow. English is not like that. You understand? So for me, in my thinking, I see that we just need to come back to us, be the us that we are, begin to live or manifest the we, the original, I mean, the we are. This is the only way. So they will now come. Do they even need to come? They don't need to come
Because like you said, we are not in competition
we
with
are
them.
not.
It's about our
We are
progress.
We are
Yeah.
not. And this is how I think we should be. But our leaders are our downfall.
We are our own downfalls. We vote them into place. We follow them.
Something
we,
like that.
We rally around them.
Something
But
like
but
that,
it
yeah.
this reminds me of, or this makes me think about, in my mind I'm comparing it to how we got to the standard for money, this gold bar thing. It was dictated by someone, right? Because we did barter, for example, first. Then at some point, because of everyone else that you're transacting with, there has to be some kind of
Unifying.
Uniformity.
It's true. I mean, I think that's also a thing. It's because we are made up of so many different languages, so many different cultures. What if you say the African way? What is the African way? There's no one African way. So I think that maybe
By the
that.
way, Africa is not a country.
Yeah, but we get that.
I think because we are diverse.
Yeah,
we can
it's
remain
a
like
strength.
that. Yes.
But we have to recognize that strength, though.
Yeah.
Because rather than understanding how to find common paths to follow, we bicker. And if anyone were to if any one person were to say, let's select whatever, like, two
That's
languages
true,
and make
yeah.
them a national language, because there needs to be some unity for us to make progress, right? Everyone would want theirs. Like, we won't sit down and analyze, this one would make more economic sense. We would rather want it to be my
We'll
native
be so busy
language
in
rather
fighting than,
I
you
know.
know,
So
yeah.
so that there has to be a certain balance that we are finding it hard to find, right? The balance of celebrating our diversity and recognizing the strength in that, but also leading to a certain point of unity. It's a unique balance that we need to find.
No, but that's also going to be a very powerful tool for us, for the West to find it difficult to be able to enter. Our languages are almost similar. If you cut it across, let's say from Cape Coast through here, almost all our
In
languages
Ghana,
throughout
you mean?
Africa even are almost the same. And there have been a research before, which I've read sometime, that the whole of Africa, if we decide to speak one language, it will be called Adegeni. I don't know how it will sound like, but then it could be a mix of Africania, it could, Swahili, all this, because there's something that when some people speak and you don't understand their language, there's something you can get. If we master this and we agree at some point that people should speak this language, okay, we can adjust it here when we come. And we as Africans, we understand, we learn this, and it will be easy for us to learn it than some other people. Now, if they have to come, before you come to Africa, you must learn at 6, 7, 8 language before. I mean, some of this requirement they give to us before we can
right?
go there.
We should add
must
the
also
long list
start
too.
doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I heard this
Agreed.
morning or yesterday that China or which country have take off the ban of Dubai, also have from South Africa from traveling. They have taken off the ban. I mean, we need to now be taking some heavy responsibilities, or we should fight back, not fight back, but we should take our stand. And if we don't do that, these things will always come to us. And some of the things they have finished using like 10 years ago, now it is coming here. And it is sad.
Oh, yeah. But you see, people who think like you, why are you not in places of power?
Why are you not? Eh?
Why are you not? Crystal,
Why are you
too.
not?
Why are you not? Because, I mean, who is going to lead the
Yeah,
the
we keep
charge?
saying they.
We talk
yeah.
about it. We always and there's so many amazing brains. Like I'm sitting on this couch with two amazing brains, right?
Yeah.
But why aren't
The
these?
fingers point one, and then
But I'm just saying, why are we not making the decisions? Why are we not climbing into these positions of power
Yeah, agreed.
and doing this, right? I also read about I've forgotten the man's name, this person who tried to introduce Afrihili, because Swahili has worked for East Africa. So I know
so
there was
what's
this man.
Afrihili like
There was a man who, it has to be a created language. It cannot be like one language that we take and we all champion it. Nobody would follow that, right? But what's stopping us? We talk about it a lot. We blame our governments. We blame our leaders, religious leaders, all kinds of leaders. But we need to be the leaders
agreed
to make these decisions.
yeah.
You're saying agreed, but you used to want to be president in secondary school.
Hey, you have just released these things.
Yes, look at her. Oh.
It's
And
still,
she's
it's
sitting
still
here.
in the pipeline. Oh.
What's she waiting for?
My ministry and I are working on it. What was I going to say? But just out of curiosity, so in crypto universe, what language is spoken, or is it dependent on the country you arrive in, the virtual country? I mean, I'm just wondering.
Cryptography, hash
No, like you're
values,
wearing your goggles and you land in, I don't know, Luxemania. Would there be like, do we think there'll be a specific language or those kind of details?
I guess it adapts to the context.
If in my head, I'm seeing that because there are several currencies of the crypto, these will be the tools you can use to exchange. Because every currency in the crypto space is trying to push to become powerful. It's just like the way English, French, German, they are all pushing that even before you go to their country, you need to learn their language, go to their school, pay before you can go. Now, the same way, all the currencies, there are so many currencies now.
In crypto world.
Yeah. Over thousands of the
You people can
currencies.
enjoy.
And now people, what is happening now is that people are buying the new ones, believing that in
It's
5,
better.
6 years time, it will also, and definitely it will blow. And so what we need to be doing now is buy some. Right now you can buy $2, $5, $10, $20. It's not that expensive. And they call it project. They call it project, that, oh, it's a project, we believe, and then they are like pushing it in the market. And the market cap, I don't know, the terms and all these things, they are kind of pushing. So there's one, the Ethereum is there, and Dudo is there, Cuckoo, and whatever. So many different names. And so we need to look at it like this, that when you land there, don't try to master one language. Know a little bit of all. And then you can also blow your horn when you appear where people don't speak any of that language. Then like you are saying, what are we doing here? Then we are telling other people, when we go to the bar, instead of drinking and talking about the match that happened yesterday and then what the parliamentarians did in parliament last week, we should be talking about these things.
Like stealing of speakers' chairs, you mean?
Exactly. We should be having conversations about these things. And I think it is the only way for us to be our own government, because we must understand that the system we are in is not ours. And so we need to create our system on the system that we are living in. And this is how I think we should be going.
Charlie, guys, to wrap up, unbelievable. We've already done, we've done time. To wrap up, what is one innovative thing, project or other, that each of us would like to achieve in virtual space, metaverse or other? I know I want a virtual concert attended by 3/4 of the world's population. Ambitious.
Before I answer that, I'm thinking that the virtual will become so popular that the reality will be more expensive.
Wow.
I'm just thinking aloud that because everything is going virtual now, it will get to a time...
Like to have lunch with me, you will need to pay $3 billion.
You understand? It will become. And so as we are thinking of, okay, what dream would I, or what kind of would I want to... I want to have what everybody will have at that moment, but still this one, I don't want to lose it. When the technology of digital started coming up, I did songwriting, like roadside artist. It happened so fast that some of us who still enjoy calligraphy, we lost jobs. We didn't get it anymore. For some people move quickly into learning the graphics and all these things, so they catch up. But I tell you today, there is no amount of money that you can pay for someone who can give you that real handwriting. If you see it, it's amazing. And it's still there today. When people give you calligraphy writing, you'll be amazed. You will get computer do it, but say, we cheap. The same with pure art. When you see the original work, it's more expensive. And today, how much original art is moving, the price they are auctioning them. And so let's always
we shouldn't mind these virtual
quickly
people.
with it. It's good to be alert. We should be aware of them. But let's always keep to it. I mean, who wants a virtual kiss?
I know, right?
Who wants that? I mean, Betty.
Valid point.
Who wants it? Nobody wants that. And so,
that was a nice one.
People are breaking up relationships online and on everything. But they meet people online. But still, the real thing is that we have this human connection that we cannot underestimate. And so, let's think about that. But for me, I'm still thinking this one is important.
Nice one.
I think I would like to deep sea diving because I'm deathly afraid of water. And so
facing your fears.
Yeah, I know. That's one experience that I don't mind having virtually that I might not want to do physically.
At least you won't die.
I know.
Unless your heart stops anyway from the fear. Virtual.
That could happen, but God forbid. I actually would love to experience that virtually because I hear it feels real. To be able to go under the water, see all these animals and have the experience without actually being there.
There should be a place. I think I saw somewhere that you can do this.
It's called Curating Dreams, a creatives podcast where we can envision all of that.
That's
Oh, sorry.
No, cool. But I get it. That could be it. Yeah.
Actually, guys, episode 6 is a wrap. Thanks, Betty. Thanks,
Thank you.
Yibor.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me. Yeah.